Have you ever felt that a person, even someone you love, is somehow blocking your path? It is not something you can logically explain, not a concrete action you can point to, but rather a profound and unsettling sensation deep within your spirit. It's a subtle friction in the energetic field between you, a silent resistance that seems to meet your every ambition. You might dismiss it as stress or your own insecurity, but the feeling persists, an intuitive whisper that something is fundamentally misaligned. This sensation is a form of spiritual data, a communication from the deepest part of your being that transcends the limitations of the rational mind. It is your soul recognizing a dissonance, a frequency that does not harmonize with the music of your divine purpose, and it is trying desperately to get your attention before the disharmony becomes your reality. What if that feeling is not your imagination? What if it is not a flaw in your own character, but rather the Holy Spirit sending a clear, deliberate signal to protect your destiny? Consider for a moment that the universe is in a constant state of communication with you, and the most intimate and vital of these communications are designed to guide you toward your highest good and away from that which would diminish you. This inner turmoil you experience around certain people is a form of sacred guidance, a divine intervention designed to shield your purpose from sabotage, whether intentional or not. It is a loving, protective whisper urging you to change course, to guard the sacred flame of your potential against winds that seek to extinguish it. The great tragedy is not that these signals are sent, but that we are taught to ignore them. In the moments that follow, you will learn to recognize not one but 7 of these irrefutable spiritual signs. More importantly, you will understand, through the timeless and practical logic of Napoleon Hill, precisely why ignoring them is the single greatest obstacle standing between you and a life of abundance and peace. This is not about superstition, it is about spiritual discernment, aligned with the concrete principles of success. You are about to unlock a truth that few ever grasp, that your associations are either keys that open the doors to prosperity or locks that seal them shut. The journey to decode these divine messages and to reclaim your power by understanding them begins now. Prepare to have your perceptions permanently altered. It is that profound exhaustion you feel after a simple conversation, isn't it? It's a depletion that sleep cannot cure. You may have entered the interaction feeling vibrant and full of energy, only to walk away feeling hollowed out, as if your very life force has been drawn from you. This is not the healthy tiredness that comes from productive work, but a parasitic drain that leaves your spirit weary and your mind clouded. Imagine the sensation of a battery being slowly but surely depleted, not by use, but by mere proximity to a short circuit. You know this feeling intimately. It's the inexplicable fatigue that settles upon your shoulders, a heavy cloak you carry long after the person has gone, leaving you to wonder where your own energy has vanished. And you know the hesitation, that subtle clenching in your chest when a brilliant idea, a new dream, sparks within you. You feel the impulse to share it, but when you think of sharing it with that person, the impulse dies. It is the fear of the subtle critique, the veiled disdain disguised as practical advice, or the faint praise that somehow feels more discouraging than silence. So, you learn to keep your greatest ambitions sacred and hidden, locked away from their view. This act of self-preservation slowly teaches you to silence your own excitement, to dim your own light. You become the guardian of your dreams against the very people you might have once sought for support, and in doing so, a part of your expressive soul begins to atrophy from disuse. You look at your goals, your projects, your divine assignment, and you feel as if you are rowing a great ship in the sand. There is immense effort, strain, and dedication, yet there is no forward momentum. Have you ever stopped to consider the source of this friction? You are doing the work, you are following the plan, but an invisible force seems to hold you back. This is the energy of an unaligned association acting as an anchor, tethering your magnificent vessel to the shores of mediocrity. While your spirit yearns for the vast ocean of possibility, this connection keeps you firmly planted in the past, in the realm of what is, preventing you from ever reaching the horizon of what could be. The effort you expend is real, but it is being neutralized. Within this struggle, a quiet war rages inside of you, the war between loyalty and self-preservation. You feel a pang of guilt for even entertaining the thought of creating distance. A voice, conditioned by societal norms, whispers of obligation, of history, of duty. It tells you that you are being selfish, disloyal, or unkind. And yet, another voice, a deeper, more ancient one, the voice of your soul, gasps for air. It speaks of purpose, of destiny, of the sacred responsibility you have to your own divine potential. This internal conflict is agonizing, leaving you paralyzed. You feel disloyal to the person if you pull away, but you know with a certainty that chills you that you are being profoundly disloyal to your own spirit by staying put. This is the slow suffocation of the soul. It is not a dramatic, sudden event, but a gradual fading of your inner light. The colors of your world seem to lose their vibrancy. The joy that once came easily now feels distant and difficult to access. A quiet sense of resignation begins to settle in your heart, as if you are slowly accepting a lesser version of the life you were meant to live. This is the tragic, silent cost of maintaining alliances that are out of alignment with your spirit. It is the slow erosion of your passion, your optimism and your faith, replaced by a persistent, low-grade sense of despair that you cannot quite name, yet you feel its weight in every single moment of your waking life. Consider the state of your mind after these encounters. Where there was once clarity, a fog of confusion and self-doubt descends. Decisions that seemed clear and resolute suddenly become fraught with uncertainty. You begin to second-guess your own intuition, to question your own judgment. Your mind, which is your single greatest asset for creating prosperity and navigating your purpose, becomes a battlefield of conflicting thoughts. This mental haze is not accidental. It is the direct result of engaging with a frequency that disrupts your own. True divine alliances bring clarity, confirmation, and confidence. A toxic alliance, however, thrives on confusion, because in a state of doubt, you are far less likely to trust your own inner guidance system and make the powerful moves required for your ascension. Do you recognize that you are performing? Around this person, you cannot be your full, authentic self. You find yourself carefully curating your words, managing your energy, and hiding the most expansive parts of your personality. It is a constant, exhausting act of self-monitoring. You shrink yourself to fit into the small container that the relationship allows. This performance is a betrayal of the divine mandate to be who you were created to be. The energy it takes to maintain this facade is the very energy you should be pouring into your business, your creations, and your spiritual growth. You are spending your divine capital not on investment in your future, but on managing a deficit in the present, all to maintain a connection that demands you be less. Ultimately, you recognize the feeling of being trapped. You are caught in a web of conflicting emotions, love and resentment, loyalty, and the desperate need for freedom. You can feel your potential, a giant sleeping within you, but it is chained by these subtle, yet incredibly strong energetic ties. The pain comes from this deep knowing. You were made for more. You were destined to soar, but you are living in a cage perhaps gilded with shared history or obligation, but a cage nonetheless. And the most agonizing question begins to echo in the silent chambers of your heart. How long can your soul survive this confinement before it gives up on the dream of flight altogether? The world, with the best of intentions, offers you a script for these situations. It is a script of endurance, a narrative of unwavering loyalty. You have heard its verses since childhood. You must endure, family is forever, friends are for all seasons. These adages are presented as badges of honor, as the cornerstones of a moral and virtuous life. They speak to a noble ideal of commitment and perseverance, and in many contexts, they hold a measure of truth. We are taught that to abandon any relationship is a sign of failure or weakness, that the righteous path is always the one of greater tolerance and sacrifice. This common wisdom forms the bars of the very cage we discussed, a prison constructed from well-meaning but dangerously incomplete advice. It is the honorable story that keeps you honorably stuck. But this very wisdom, when applied without spiritual discernment, becomes the silent enemy of your divine purpose. Its fatal flaw is its lack of nuance. It fails to make the single most important distinction for a person of destiny: the difference between relationships that nurture and relationships that are parasitic to your life force. It groups all connections under a single banner of obligation, failing to recognize that some alliances are anchors, while others are sails. By maintaining a toxic alliance out of a misplaced sense of duty, you are honoring a societal rule at the direct expense of a divine mandate. This is the quiet, insidious reason for so many financial, spiritual, and personal failures. People clinging to honorable-sounding principles while their very spirit is being drained of the energy required to create and prosper. This creates a fundamental choice between two paths. The first is the path of effort, the one prescribed by the common wisdom. It is the path of struggle, of swimming against an invisible current, of pouring your energy into a dynamic that will never yield a positive return. It is the belief that if you just try harder, love more, or give more, the dynamic will change. The second is the path of alignment. This path is not about more effort, but about more awareness. It is the understanding that your energy is a sacred, finite resource, and it must be invested in soil that can bear fruit. It is the courageous decision to align yourself exclusively with forces, people, and environments that are in harmony with your God-given assignment. It requires letting go of the struggle and trusting a higher form of guidance. But in the midst of this confusion, designed by a world of incomplete truths, there exists an inner compass. It is infallible, ever-present, and divinely calibrated. This compass is the discernment given to you by the Holy Spirit. In the sacred texts, he is referred to as the Comforter and the Spirit of Truth, the one who will guide you into all truth. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a spiritual function. You have been equipped with an internal guidance system that operates beyond the realm of logic and social conditioning. It communicates not in loud commands, but in the subtle language of the soul, in feelings of peace or disquiet, in clarity or confusion, in expansion or contraction. The feelings you have been wrestling with, the very ones you were taught to dismiss, are the needle of this divine compass pointing you toward your true north. And this ancient spiritual truth finds a stunning reflection in the most rigorous study of wealth and achievement ever conducted. After decades of analyzing the lives of the world's most successful individuals, Napoleon Hill concluded that the foundational secret to all great fortunes was a principle he called the mastermind. He defined this as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. Hill discovered through cold, hard logic and evidence that the single most critical factor in a person's success or failure is the quality of their closest associations. The right mental alliance creates a third mind, a source of immense power, while the wrong one creates a vortex of energetic and mental chaos that makes success virtually impossible. Here, then, is the revelation where the spiritual and the practical converge into a single, undeniable truth. What Napoleon Hill described as a master strategy for the mind, the Bible reveals as a fundamental orientation of the spirit. The two are one and the same. The Holy Spirit is your divine guide in the formation of your true mastermind. The discomfort, the drain, and the confusion you feel around certain people are not merely emotions, they are strategic guidance. It is the Holy Spirit actively steering you away from the wrong mental alliances that drain your power, sabotage your purpose, and create dissonance in your frequency. Your intuition is not random, it is a divine strategy for prosperity. You are being guided, constantly and perfectly, toward the alliances that build and away from those that destroy. Let us now decode the 7 sacred signals, the language the Holy Spirit uses to protect your destiny. The first and most foundational of these signs is the loss of your inner peace. This is not merely a feeling of nervousness or discomfort. It is a profound spiritual agitation, an inexplicable anxiety that settles in your core when you are in this person's presence, or even when you simply think of them. Your soul has a default state, a factory setting, and that setting is peace. Peace is the calm sea upon which the ship of your purpose is meant to sail. When that sea is perpetually turbulent around a specific individual, it is not a random weather pattern. It is a divine signal, a spiritual alarm bell warning you that you are navigating in dangerous waters. This brings us to the great mantra you must internalize. Peace is the seal of divine approval. Think of it this way: when a decision, an action, or an association is in alignment with God's will for your life, He seals it with an inner feeling of profound peace, even if the external circumstances are challenging. This peace transcends understanding. It is a spiritual anchor. Conversely, when something is out of alignment, that seal is broken and its absence is felt as anxiety, turmoil, and a persistent lack of rest in your spirit. The absence of peace is not a neutral state. It is a clear and definitive veto from the Holy Spirit, indicating that this path, this connection is not approved for your journey. Napoleon Hill would identify this phenomenon as a message from your sixth sense, your direct line to infinite intelligence. He understood that your intuitive faculty is a highly sensitive receptor, capable of picking up on vibrations and dissonances that your 5 physical senses cannot detect. The anxiety you feel is your subconscious mind processing thousands of bits of negative data, subtle tones of voice, energetic dissonances, unspoken intentions, and translating it into a physical sensation to get your attention. A true mastermind, as Hill defined it, must operate in a spirit of perfect harmony. This harmony is the very foundation of its power. The persistent lack of peace is empirical evidence that the condition of harmony does not exist. Imagine your soul is a perfectly still, clear lake. A divinely aligned connection is like a gentle breeze that creates a pleasant, energizing ripple on the surface, but a toxic or misaligned association is like a heavy stone repeatedly thrown into the center of that lake. The impact creates endless concentric ripples of anxiety that spread to every corner of your being. These ripples stir up sediment from the bottom, making the water cloudy and confused. They distort your reflection, preventing you from seeing yourself clearly. As long as the stones are being thrown, the lake can never return to its natural state of stillness and clarity. The turmoil is a direct result of an external disturbance. The mental action here is one of radical self-awareness. For the next several days, I want you to become a scientist of your own inner state. When you interact with this person, or even anticipate an interaction, do not analyze their words or your own. Instead, turn your attention inward and simply observe your body. Is your breathing shallow and tight in your chest? Is your stomach clenched in a knot? Does your jaw feel tight? Your physical body does not lie. It is the ultimate scorecard of your spirit. It keeps a perfect accounting of every energetic transaction. Trust its wisdom. It is telling you a truth that your mind, bound by loyalty and logic, may be trying to deny. The second irrefutable sign is the silencing of your dreams. Observe yourself. Do you find that you instinctively edit your own stories and ambitions when you are around this person? A new business idea, a spiritual revelation, a bold plan for your future. These sacred sparks of divine inspiration arise within you, yet you consciously hold them back from this individual. This is not an accident. It is a profound act of self-preservation enacted by your spirit. Your soul knows that a nascent dream is a fragile entity, a tender sprout, that requires a nurturing environment to grow. It recognizes that this person's presence represents infertile or even toxic soil, and it acts to protect the seed of your future from exposure. This behavior is in direct and violent opposition to the core function of a Napoleon Hill mastermind. Hill taught that a mastermind alliance is a creative incubator. It is a sacred space where the intangible energy of a thought can be nurtured by the collective faith and harmonious energy of the group, until it becomes a physical reality. Your mastermind is meant to be the place where your faith is amplified, not diminished. Therefore, any person who causes you to doubt or hide your ambitions cannot, by definition, be a part of your true mastermind. They are functioning as the antithesis of it, a dream extinguisher, a place where the fire of inspiration goes to die from a lack of oxygen. Consider this metaphor. Your greatest ambitions are like rare, exotic birds. They are beautiful, powerful, and meant to soar to great heights. To thrive, they need open skies and a safe place to nest. A true divinely appointed mastermind is like a vast protected sanctuary for these birds, where they are encouraged to fly freely and are celebrated for their beauty. But a misaligned association is like a small, restrictive cage. To bring your magnificent bird into the presence of this person is to force it into that cage, where its wings will be clipped, its song will be muted, and its spirit will be crushed. Your instinct to hide your dreams is the wisdom of your soul, refusing to cage its own magnificent potential. The mental action is to conduct a simple but powerful inventory. Take a moment right now to recall the last truly exciting idea or ambition that you had. Feel the energy of it, the spark of life it contained. Now ask yourself with total honesty, did I feel free to share this idea in its full and passionate form with this person? If the answer is no, take it a step further. Ask yourself, what was I afraid would happen to my idea in their presence? What reaction did my spirit anticipate? Was it doubt, skepticism, a subtle joke at your expense, envy? In the answer to that question, you will find the precise nature of the poison this connection introduces into your life. The third divine signal is the sudden onset of mental confusion and doubt. You may enter an interaction feeling clear, focused, and certain about your path and your decisions. Yet after the conversation, a fog descends upon your mind. The clarity you once had evaporates, replaced by a paralyzing cloud of self-doubt and uncertainty. Decisions that were once simple now seem impossibly complex. This is not a reflection of your own incompetence. It is the result of a direct energetic interference. You have just engaged with a frequency that is so dissonant with your own that it disrupts the coherent patterns of your thought process, leaving you in a state of mental and spiritual disarray. It is a form of psychic static. From the perspective of Napoleon Hill's science of success, this is one of the most dangerous forms of sabotage. Hill's entire philosophy begins with a single principle: definiteness of purpose. This is the starting point of all achievement. To succeed, you must know what you want and maintain a crystal clear, unwavering focus on it. Therefore, any person, habit, or circumstance that diminishes your clarity is a direct enemy to your success. An association that consistently leaves you feeling confused is actively working against your definite purpose. Prosperity and achievement are born from clear, focused, powerful thoughts. A connection that makes such thoughts impossible is, by its very nature, a poverty-inducing alliance. Think of your mind as a high-powered, finely tuned radio receiver designed to pick up the clear signal of divine guidance and your own purpose. When you are aligned, the signal is strong and the music is beautiful. This misaligned person, however, acts as a powerful jamming tower, broadcasting a frequency of static, chaos, and doubt. When you are near them, their chaotic broadcast overwhelms your receiver. You can no longer hear the clear signal you were once receiving. The guidance hasn't stopped being transmitted. Your ability to receive it has been temporarily disabled by the overwhelming interference. Your confusion is simply evidence that you are standing too close to a source of disruptive static. Here is the mental action to prove this to yourself. After your very next interaction with this individual, deliberately set aside 15 minutes. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Take a pen and a blank piece of paper and attempt to write down your top 3 most important goals with absolute clarity and conviction. Try to connect with the feeling of their achievement. If you find yourself struggling, if the words feel hollow, if the vision is blurry and the feeling is distant, then you have just captured tangible proof. You are witnessing the lingering residue of the mental fog, the after effect of the psychic interference on your creative and decisive faculties. The 4th sign is one your logical mind will fight tooth and nail: the need for constant justifications. You find yourself in a perpetual state of explaining away the person's behavior, both to yourself and to others. Your inner monologue is filled with phrases like, "They're just stressed right now," or "They didn't really mean it that way," or "That's just how they are, they have a good heart." Each of these justifications is a red flag. It is your rational mind attempting to build a logical bridge over a chasm of intuitive truth. Your spirit knows, with absolute certainty, that the behavior is out of alignment, but your mind, conditioned for loyalty and conflict avoidance, rushes in to act as the person's defense attorney. This dynamic is a direct violation of the foundational principle of a mastermind: harmony. Napoleon Hill was emphatic on this point. A mastermind alliance must be built upon a bedrock of perfect harmony. Without it, the third mind of creative power cannot be born. Instead, a force of disintegration and discord is created. When you are constantly making excuses for someone's words or actions, you are openly admitting to a fundamental lack of harmony. You are spending your precious mental and emotional energy trying to force 2 dissonant notes to sound pleasant together, which is impossible. A divinely ordained alliance does not require constant defense. It sustains itself through mutual harmony and resonance. Imagine a divinely appointed relationship is like a masterful stone archway, where each stone is perfectly cut to fit against the other. The structure stands on its own, strong and beautiful, through the principle of mutual support and perfect fit. No glue or external props are needed. A toxic alliance, however, is like trying to build an arch with 2 misshapen stones. It will not stand on its own. You are forced to spend all your time and energy propping it up, making excuses for why it's leaning, and constantly trying to patch the cracks. Your life becomes about maintaining a flawed structure rather than walking through the beautiful, strong archway into your future. The need for justification is the evidence of a flawed design. For the next week, your mental task is to become a neutral observer of your own thoughts regarding this person. Carry a small notepad or use an app on your phone. Do not judge, simply document. Every time you catch yourself making an excuse for them, defending their behavior, or rationalizing a negative feeling they caused, make a small mark. At the end of the week, look at the number of marks you have made. Let that number sink in. This tally does not represent their flaws. It represents the exact amount of your own vital, creative energy that you have sacrificed in a single week to maintain a fiction of harmony where none truly exists. We now arrive at the 5th, and perhaps most frustrating sign: inexplicable stagnation. You are working hard, you are taking action, but nothing seems to move forward. Your financial goals remain just out of reach. Promising projects lose momentum and fizzle out, and doors of opportunity that seemed wide open suddenly slam shut. You feel like you are running on a treadmill. There is plenty of sweat and effort, but you are not getting anywhere. This lack of progress is not due to a lack of effort on your part. It is often the direct result of a profound, energetic misalignment in your closest circle, an invisible anchor dragging against the hull of your ship. It is a spiritual and vibrational problem manifesting as a physical reality. To understand this, you must grasp a fundamental law of the universe. Everything is frequency. Your desires for abundance, for health, for loving relationships, all vibrate at a very high, fast frequency. Joy, faith, and clarity are high-frequency states. Conversely, doubt, fear, envy, and negativity are very low, slow frequencies. When you are in a close, continuous alliance with a person who consistently operates from a low-frequency state, their vibrational field directly impacts your own. It creates a phenomenon known as destructive interference, where their low frequency cancels out your high frequency, resulting in a neutral or stagnant energetic state. Your forward momentum is being vibrationally neutralized before it can ever manifest in the physical world. Napoleon Hill understood this principle deeply, framing it as the necessity for vibrational harmony among mastermind partners. He knew that for a group to tap into the higher powers of infinite intelligence and create significant results, all members had to be in vibrational accord. You cannot be tuned to the frequency of prosperity if you are intimately tethered to a powerful broadcasting station of lack and limitation. The two signals are mutually exclusive. Your association with a low-frequency individual makes it spiritually and scientifically impossible for you to maintain the high-frequency state necessary to attract the opportunities and resources that match your ambitions. You are, quite literally, on a different wavelength from your own desires. Let this metaphor crystallize the concept for you. Imagine you are trying to bring a pot of water to a rolling boil, which represents the manifestation of your goals. To do this, you need to apply a consistent and powerful source of heat, your high-frequency energy of faith and focused action. However, this misaligned person is like someone who periodically comes along and dumps a ladle of icy water into your pot. Each interaction, each negative comment, each wave of their doubtful energy is another dose of cold water. It doesn't matter how high you turn up your own flame. If the cold water is added continuously, your pot will remain lukewarm forever. It will never reach the boiling point of manifestation. Your mental action is to become an energetic detective. Choose one major project or goal where you have been feeling completely stuck. Get a piece of paper and draw a timeline of that project's history. Mark the points of high momentum and the points where it stalled. Now, overlay this timeline with a timeline of your interactions with the person in question. Be ruthlessly objective. Do the periods of stagnation and lost opportunity correlate with periods of increased contact or heightened influence from this person? Look for the pattern. The goal is not to assign blame, but to gather undeniable data. You are simply observing the cause and effect within your own energetic laboratory. The sixth divine signal is the arrival of external confirmations. Just when you begin to think you are imagining things or being too sensitive, the universe conspires to validate your intuition. You will be listening to a sermon or a podcast, and the speaker will describe your exact situation with stunning accuracy. You will open a book to a random page, and a sentence will leap out at you, perfectly articulating the feeling in your soul. Or most powerfully, a trusted friend or even a stranger, with no knowledge of your internal struggle, will make a casual observation like, "You seem so drained after you talked to so-and-so," confirming everything you have been feeling. Do not dismiss these moments as mere coincidence. They are divine echoes. This is the Holy Spirit employing the physical world as a megaphone to amplify the quiet whisper He has already placed in your spirit. It is an act of profound grace. God understands that years of social conditioning have taught you to doubt your own intuition. So when your internal voice is being drowned out by your own rationalizations, He will send the message through a channel you cannot deny. He will use the people and media in your environment to create a chorus of confirmation, all singing the same note of truth, until you have no choice but to finally listen and acknowledge what you have known all along. Napoleon Hill referred to this phenomenon as the universe responding to your dominant thoughts. He taught that your subconscious mind is in constant communication with the field of infinite intelligence. When you are deeply wrestling with a problem or a feeling, your subconscious mind is broadcasting that question out to the universe. These external confirmations are the universe's reply. They are data points delivered from infinite intelligence through the most efficient available channels to provide you with the answer you seek. It is the proof that you are not alone in your struggle. A higher intelligence is aware of your situation and is actively conspiring to bring you clarity. The mental action required is to shift from dismissal to reception. For the next 7 days, I want you to adopt the posture of a spiritual detective who is actively looking for clues. Start your day with a simple prayer. Holy Spirit, show me what I need to see. Confirm the truth in my heart. Then go about your day with a heightened sense of awareness. Pay attention to repeating themes, to song lyrics that seem to stand out, to headlines, to conversations you overhear. When one of these moments of synchronicity happens, do not brush it aside. Pause, breathe, and say, "I hear you. Thank you for the confirmation." You are learning to partner with the universe in your own liberation. Finally, we come to the seventh and most irrefutable sign, the immediate alleviation upon their departure. This is the undeniable, often surprising wave of peace, lightness, and relief that washes over you the moment the person is no longer in your presence. When they go on a trip, When you are separated by circumstances, or even after a simple phone call ends, you feel a palpable shift in the atmosphere. Your shoulders relax, your mind clears, and a surge of creative energy and optimism returns as if from nowhere. It feels as if a heavy, weighted blanket has been lifted off of your spirit, allowing you to breathe freely once again. This feeling is not you being cruel or unloving. It is the most powerful and compassionate piece of data the Holy Spirit can offer you. This sensation of relief is your own spiritual and energetic system, giving you a direct, experiential taste of what your life would feel like operating at its correct, natural frequency. It is a glimpse into the promised land of your own alignment. The stark contrast between how you feel in their presence versus how you feel in their absence is the ultimate diagnostic tool. Your own soul is demonstrating the precise cause and effect in real time, showing you the source of the pressure and revealing the profound peace that is available to you in its absence. Napoleon Hill would call this a clear demonstration of psychic contagion. He understood that emotions, mental states, and vibrational frequencies are highly contagious. You are not immune to the psychic atmosphere of those you spend time with. In this person's presence, you are constantly being exposed to a contagion of doubt, negativity, anxiety, or energetic neediness. You absorb it into your own system. In their absence, you are freed from the source of the contagion. Your own spiritual immune system then immediately goes to work, clearing out the foreign energy and restoring you to your natural, healthy, high-frequency state of peace and clarity. The relief you feel is the feeling of your own system returning to homeostasis. The final mental action is to anchor this experience. The next time you are separated from this person and you feel that unmistakable wave of relief and clarity wash over you, do not just let the moment pass. Stop whatever you are doing, close your eyes, and consciously anchor that feeling in your body. Pay attention to how your body feels, how your mind works, how your spirit soars. Then ask yourself this powerful question: what amazing things could I create, achieve, and become if I could feel this way every single day? Let the answer fill you with both a sense of profound possibility and a sober understanding of the immense price you are paying for this association. This feeling is your North Star. Imagine your life 6 months from today. Project yourself into that future. Imagine the sensation of waking up in the morning and the first thing you feel is not a familiar low-grade dread, but a profound sense of lightness. The energetic weight that has been pressing down on your spirit for so long is simply gone. You take a full, deep breath, and the air that fills your lungs feels clean and charged with possibility. The slow suffocation has been replaced by an expansive freedom. This is not a fantasy. It is the natural state of a soul that has been unburdened from a connection that was draining its very essence. It is the feeling of coming home to yourself, of reclaiming the sacred space of your own being. In this new reality, you experience a level of mental clarity that feels like a superpower. The fog of confusion has lifted permanently. Decisions that once seemed agonizing and complex now present themselves with a simple, intuitive certainty. You are able to discern your path with confidence, seeing opportunities that were previously invisible to you through the haze of doubt. This clarity is the bedrock of true prosperity. It allows you to move with precision and purpose, to invest your energy wisely, and to build your future on the firm foundation of inspired, decisive action. You no longer second-guess the guidance of your own spirit because you can finally hear it clearly, without any static or interference. With this peace and clarity comes the glorious return of your creative power. The projects that had been stalled, the ones where you felt you were rowing in sand, are now imbued with a sense of flow and divine grace. Inspiration, which had felt like a distant memory, now visits you daily. You feel a renewed passion for your work, for your purpose, because the energy you were once spending to manage a draining relationship is now fully available to you. It is channeled into your creations, your business, your divine assignment. You are no longer just working, you are co-creating with the universe, and you witness your efforts being multiplied in ways you could never have achieved while you were anchored to the past, and the doors begin to open. When you bravely choose to align your personal life with your spiritual truth, you alter your own frequency. You begin to resonate at the high, clear vibration of your authentic self. By the immutable law of attraction, the universe must then respond in kind. People who are on your new frequency will be drawn into your life. Resources and opportunities that match your clarity and purpose will appear as if by magic. This is not luck, it is physics. You have removed the single greatest source of dissonance from your energy field, and in doing so, you have become a powerful, coherent magnet for the very abundance you have been seeking for so long. Understand this crucial truth. Creating distance from a connection that is undermining your destiny is not an act of cruelty or betrayal. It is the ultimate act of loyalty. It is a profound declaration of allegiance to your divine purpose, to the sacred assignment that God has placed upon your life. You have a responsibility to be a faithful steward of the gifts, the energy, and the potential you have been given. To knowingly allow that potential to be drained and diminished by a misaligned association is to be disloyal to your Creator and to your own soul. The most spiritual choice, the most loving choice for all involved, is the choice that honors the divine mandate on your life above all else. Your call to transformation today does not require a dramatic confrontation or a difficult conversation. The first and most important step is not external, but internal. The work begins in the sacred sanctuary of your own silence. Your true call to action is to consciously withdraw from the noise of the world and the noise of your own rationalizing mind. It is to give yourself the gift of stillness, to create a space where the quiet, unerring voice of the Holy Spirit can finally be heard without interruption. This is an invitation not to a battle with another, but to a profound meeting with the truth that resides within you. The liberation you seek is waiting for you in the quiet. In that silence, I invite you to perform a sacred act of reflection. Bring to mind the 7 signs we have decoded today. Allow yourself to feel the truth of them in your own experience, without judgment or justification. And then, with a heart open to receive, ask this simple, powerful question. Holy Spirit, what is the truth about this situation that I have been unwilling to see? Ask it and then simply listen. Do not search for an answer with your mind. Let the answer rise from your spirit. It may come as a feeling, a memory, or a single quiet word. The answer, when it comes, will not feel harsh or angry. It will feel like a key turning in a lock, and it will be the beginning of your freedom. The path forward, the specific steps you need to take, will be revealed to you in their own time. Your only task today is to acknowledge the truth. The guidance you need will come, and you will know it is divine because it will be confirmed by the very signal that first alerted you to the problem. It will be sealed with a feeling of deep and profound peace, a quiet assurance that you are finally moving in alignment with your highest good. Remember this always, and let it be the compass that guides you from this day forward. Peace is the seal of divine approval.